The city lights were still glowing when Daniel Reed unlocked the side door of the Hamilton corporate building. It was 4:30 in the morning. The sky was dark blue, almost black. The streets were silent. While most people were still sleeping, Daniel was already starting his shift. He pushed his cleaning cart slowly across the marble floor. To everyone in that building, Daniel was just a janitor, invisible, replaceable, unimportant. Every morning, he vacuumed expensive carpets that probably cost more than his yearly salary. He wiped fingerprints off glass walls where billion-dollar deals were discussed. He emptied trash bins filled with crumpled papers containing ideas that could change industries. Sometimes he paused for a second and looked around the luxurious office lobby. Maybe one day, he whispered to himself. Years ago, Daniel had a different life planned. He was a brilliant economics student. Professors admired his analytical mind. He had big dreams of working in corporate strategy. But life doesn't always follow plans. During his final year at university, his mother was diagnosed with cancer. Treatment was expensive. Daniel dropped out to work full-time. He told himself it was temporary, but temporary became permanent. After she passed away, Daniel was left with debt, no degree, and a broken heart. The only job he could get quickly was janitorial work. At first, it crushed his pride. When former classmates posted pictures of promotions and luxury vacations, Daniel quietly closed the app. But something inside him refused to die. He never stopped learning. While others saw cleaning supplies, Daniel saw opportunity. Every night after finishing his assigned floors, he would spend extra time in the conference rooms. He memorized charts left on whiteboards. He read business magazines thrown into trash bins. He studied financial models that executives forgot to erase. He carried a small notebook in his pocket. In it, he wrote ideas, observations, strategies. No one knew. To them, he was just the janitor. One evening, everything changed. It was late, almost 10:15 p.m. A major meeting had just ended on the 32nd floor. Executives had been discussing a massive expansion project worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Daniel waited until they left before entering the room to clean. As he wiped the conference table, he noticed something still written on the whiteboard. Projected revenue growth, 18% annually. Operating cost estimate, fixed at current ratio. Daniel frowned. He stepped closer. The numbers didn't make sense. They were ignoring inflation adjustments. They were assuming market stability in a sector known for volatility. He grabbed his notebook and quickly wrote down what he remembered. His heart started racing. If they move forward with this, he thought, they could lose everything. He stood still in the empty room. Who would believe him? He was a janitor. If he spoke up, they might laugh, or worse, fire him. He pushed his cart out of the room, but he couldn't stop thinking. That night, instead of sleeping, Daniel sat at his small kitchen table with an old laptop. He recreated the financial model from memory. He recalculated risk exposure. He adjusted projections realistically. The result shocked him. If the company continued with the current plan, they would face severe losses within 2 years. Daniel stared at the screen. He had two choices: stay silent or risk everything. The next morning, as executives entered the building, Daniel felt his palms sweating. When he saw the CFO step into the elevator, he made a decision. He followed. Inside the elevator, it was just the two of them. The CFO glanced at him briefly. "Yes?" Daniel swallowed. "Sir, I apologize if this is inappropriate, but I believe there may be a miscalculation in yesterday's expansion projections." The CFO raised an eyebrow. "And how would you know that?" "I studied economics before I left university. I reviewed the numbers on the board." There was silence. The elevator doors opened. Come to my office at 9, the CFO said calmly. Daniel could barely breathe. At 9 a.m., he stood in a room far above the floors he usually cleaned. He handed over his printed analysis. For 20 minutes, the CFO read silently. Then he picked up the phone and called two senior analysts. They reviewed the data together. The atmosphere shifted. "This is accurate," one analyst whispered. The original model had indeed underestimated long-term operational costs and ignored market volatility. If Daniel hadn't spoken up, the company would have invested millions into a dangerously flawed plan. The CFO leaned back in his chair. "How long have you been working here?" he asked. 3 years, sir." "And you've been studying during that time?" "Yes." The CFO looked at him carefully. "You're not just a janitor, are you?" Daniel didn't know how to answer. 2 weeks later, the expansion project was officially paused for revision. 1 month later, Daniel received an unexpected offer. Junior financial analyst, full-time. Some employees were confused. Some were jealous. "How did the janitor get promoted?" they whispered. But Daniel didn't respond. He worked harder than anyone. He arrived early, he stayed late, he asked questions, he learned from mistakes. The same discipline he once applied to cleaning floors, he now applied to financial models. Years passed. Daniel earned back his academic credits at night school. He graduated with honors. He led projects. He managed teams. He built strategies that saved the company millions. 10 years after that elevator conversation, Daniel Reed became Vice President of Strategic Planning. On his first day in the new office, he walked through the lobby slowly. The marble floors were shining. A young janitor was mopping near the entrance. Daniel stopped. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Carlos," the young man replied nervously. Daniel smiled. "Carlos, what's your dream?" The young man hesitated. "I want to study business someday." Daniel nodded. "Don't let this uniform define you." Carlos looked confused. Daniel extended his hand. "I used to clean these floors too." The young man's eyes widened. That evening, Daniel stood alone in his office overlooking the city. He remembered the nights of doubt, the fear in the elevator, the moment he almost stayed silent. He realized something important. His life didn't change in one day. It changed because he prepared every single day. Opportunity came suddenly, but readiness was built slowly. The world may label you janitor, assistant, intern, nobody. But labels are temporary. Effort is permanent. Daniel was just a janitor until one day everything changed. And when that day arrived, he was ready.